This whole case is a fraud. It's election interference. It's keeping me here instead of Iowa and New Hampshire.
Welcome back to America Decides. That was Donald Trump outside the courtroom of his New York civil fraud trial. The former president, two of his sons, and his company are accused of a decades-long fraud scheme centered around inflating the value of their company. Trump is expected to take the stand in that case in that courthouse on Monday. CBS News chief Washington correspondent Major Garrett joins us now. What in the world is that going to look like?
Well, he's been there before. He's testified earlier. He'll testify again. And let's get a couple of things clear. He doesn't have to be there. As a matter of fact, being there helps him in Iowa and New Hampshire because it continues his long-running argument that he is a victim of some kind of illegitimate, politicized prosecution, even in a civil case. So he doesn't have to be there, but it helps to be there because it radiates that message, point one. Point two, politically, the Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley campaigns will tell you this. Every day that Donald Trump is in a courtroom or near a courtroom or thinking about going in a courtroom, it freezes the media space in which they operate. So politically, it is advantageous, not disadvantageous for former President Trump. This case is basically about, is there a victim? Well, the banks say they're not victims. Well, let's remind ourselves, those banks are in court testifying about a former president who might be, again, a future president. How eager do you think they're going to be, Scott, to say, yes, the former president defrauded us? This is a question of, do you need to be a forensic accountant to go through and peel back Trump Organization financial statements, or are they consistent with existing and established business practices in New York? New York Attorney General says they aren't, and that's fraud. We'll see.
Next trial up is a criminal trial. It's
Yes.
the one set for March 4th, the 2020 election conspiracy trial, which has all kinds of tethers to January 6th. Trump's team made an argument today, which clearly is trying to push that case back. Explain what they're arguing, what they're trying to do.
Quickly, the president's attorney said he has absolute immunity from any prosecution because he's a former president. And, oh, by the way, since the Senate did not convict him in an impeachment trial, he can't be judged on any of these things. The trial court judge said, no, that's not true. They're appealing that absolute immunity declaration and related double jeopardy. They're saying while the appeals court considers that, they're not going to be responsive to anything, and nothing should go forward in this case until that is decided. That jeopardizes any movement in getting things done procedurally back and forth. It may even jeopardize the March 4th trial date, which, of course, has been the Trump attorney's approach all along. Delay, delay, delay.
And this seems to invite and expedite a review by the appeals court or the Supreme Court if they take this strategy of, we're not going to honor you, local judge, anymore.
Be careful of the questions you ask in a legal context. This is uncharted waters, to be sure. But if you ask these questions and you get an authoritative answer back that you don't like, that doesn't mean you don't have to comply.
Yeah. Ultimately, some of this has the potential of having a political impact on Trump. A trial, a criminal trial in which he appears every day. And the arguments, the prosecution's arguments, are illustrative, kind of inflammatory. Any indication from what you've seen over the last few months, any of this endangers him politically in the party? In the primaries that'll be ongoing during a trial.
So very clearly, the former president has won the indictment spectacle part of this. That doesn't mean he will win the public relations game in terms of evidence submitted and a possible conviction. Those are when the teeth of justice actually begin to clamp down. And you have to reconcile what you've said publicly and what you can actually prove in a court of law. We don't know that. And there is a sense among Republicans, a kind of fearful, tremulous sense that because he won the PR game in the indictments, he's going to win throughout. We still don't know, and I'm not prepared to offer a prediction.
It wasn't accidental, I suspect, that last night in the debate we heard Vivek Ramaswamy make a conspiracy theory statement that January 6th was an inside job. He read the room and thought that was the right room for that message. What do you make of that?
It's false. It's completely wrong. It is not consistent with any evidence submitted by anyone in a court of law. You know that, Scott McFarland, better than I do. Those who have been brought before the bench for their actions on January 6th have been looking in every direction to find some plausible, credible, evidentiary basis for that allegation, and they haven't submitted it. On their own behalf, they haven't submitted it.
You saw a political upside
They're
to
the ones who are most interested in trying to find this evidence and haven't. So Ramaswamy is becoming increasingly more reckless to win the nomination? No. But to carve out some place for himself in the financial side of the Republican Party and its rhetorical flourishes about January 6th, quite possibly, yes.
There's a lot there. There's a lot more coming to you. You just sense it, can't you? Major Garrett joining us on set. Thank you very much.
Thanks.